Hello, my name is Gabriel Garcia de la Cadena. I'm here to discuss with you about the fact that we're trying to find new ways for us to reach our EL students and their parents. We're getting an influx of students, EL students coming into the school district. I know some teachers maybe are not as well at working with EL students or maybe never have worked with them. So what we're going to do here is to try to help, build uh, skills and give advice on how to help these ELL students and help reach these parents. So one of the first things we need to pay attention to is the cultural influences. And what that exactly means is you understand these EL students are not all coming from the same place. Even if they're all, let's say you got nothing but Latin students, there are many different Latin countries with their own unique cultures. And so because of these unique cultures, different cultures coming into your classroom and also being in essentially the American education system culture, there can be real disconnect that's going on between you, the student and the education system. So our goal is you need to find ways to work with these different cultures and help them. Now, your next thing you need to work from there is look at your cultural competency. Now, you might be like, well, what does that mean? Well, that what that means is you need to be aware of your own culture. Your culture may not be the same as your students, and you got to be able to realize that you need to be aware that you're not forcing your morals, culture, your views on these other students. Make sure you are very much respectful to these students' cultures. Now, we're not saying that we need to bend your knee to the students at will, not at all. What we're saying is just these people are in a new environment. Disrespecting them right away will only hurt your relationship with only the student and discourage learning. That's what we mean. And for the last one of the last things we need to look at is the social emotional learning. Now, what this does is focus on the students to feel more comfortable in their environment. Uh, we want them comfortable in the system, in the classroom, around students from different cultures. We want them comfortable there because if they aren't comfortable and they aren't socially, you know, feeling there, they're not going to learn. They're not going to pay attention. It can build anxiety. It can cause even depression if they're not comfortable. These people can sometimes be really scared. So making them comfortable in the environment, making sure they're socially okay and not anxious all the time are great ways to get them to focus on the education and not focus on what's going on internally right here. So another thing that is very much important is we need to discuss maybe strategies to get these family and the community engagement that to help with the students. So one of the things that we might do is you need to look at communication. How are we communicating with the parents? Are we just telling them only the bad things going on with their children, or are we not only telling the bad things, but also the good things, their improvements, where they're excelling in, showing that, hey, when I contact you, parent, it's not always a bad thing, so don't assume that. What's another thing? Are you even trying as a teacher to contact them? Are you trying once or twice and saying, oh, well, they're not responding, or well, they don't really speak English well, so I'm just not going to try anymore? No, don't give up. Work with it. We have resources in our schools to help if it's a language barrier issue. That's very important that we keep this communication. Growing a positive relationship and open communication between the parent and the teacher and the student is very, very important for this student's education. Next, family involvement in general. We're not just talking about telling them about the children's education. We're talking get them to go to their students' like events, come to open house. Maybe if you can, encourage them to be allowed to come into the classroom. Maybe they can even give in like on a when we do cultural week and stuff like that. Get the parents to talk about their culture in the classroom. Obviously, we would have to discuss with the administration first about if this is okay, but There's a good chance it might be. There's a lot of schools that do allow it. So this is something that's great for getting parents involved. And parents more involved in their students' education, not just their own children's, but the entire classroom or school in general, is always good. Next, we need to build community. And by that, we mean, we're talking about clubs. Get these students into club activities, get them into sports, get them into extracurriculars. Because having the brotherhood that comes from sports or sisterhood that comes with sports is very important for a child. It can really help them to feel like they have some sort of, place to be. What some strategies that I recommend if we're going to do this is first speak with administration, like I said, about the rules. Okay. Next, open house. Like I said, talk with the family about how important it is for them to get involved. Try to get them there. Obviously, you won't get all of them, but one is better than none. Make a survey if for to find out if the families are willing to be involved. You know, if the survey needs to be print out in their home language, do it. We have resources for that. Try to find out what you can about the family. This is also very good for finding out about the culture and being able to be more culturally sensitive towards your students. And of course, again, encourage parents to come to school events, even those that don't require their attendance. More parents in school is better than having none. We cannot stress enough how important family is for these students in general. That support is so important to them. Now, what are some things to take into consideration? What are some key factors? One, we've discussed family. Family is very important. A family encouraging their children at home encourages them to do better in school. Likewise, if we do nothing but negative impacts for the parents, of telling them only negative things, it's going to discourage them at home. They don't feel like they're supported. They feel like they're just a failure. Don't want that. Community, sports, that brotherhood, that sisterhood, that positive building up is very important for our students, just like it is important with the parents. Okay. The parents is that familiar bond that's encouraging. Now they need the bonds they choose to make, bonds of, brotherhood and sisterhood. Those bonds now need to encourage them. Encouragement from both sides and both needs helps build a better student. Next is the culture. Culture plays a big role as well. We talked a little about that. If we're disrespecting a student's culture, we're not gonna encourage them to want to learn. They're gonna feel disrespected and they're gonna feel like, what's the point of being here? Why should I do anything? But being culturally sensitive, working with their culture. If you can learn about it and find out, hey, they have a holiday in their culture where they're gonna give them a day off for that. Give them an extra day for the assignment, maybe, who knows, or work around it for the entire class. Okay, somehow make it work so that your students don't feel like they fall behind because of their culture. Be sensitive. And last thing, what are the roles of family community practice? I touched on this already. Family bond, it's going to be at home. When they're at home, if they're being encouraged by their family, hey, I'm here, you're doing good. Keep it up. Keep going. If you keep doing good, like we're saying, maybe I'll take you to this or that. There's going to be positive impact there. And that's what we need. We need the students to feel being supported at home. For community, it's that, hey, you're doing hella good, brother. You're doing great. Or girl, I'm hearing you're doing really great in school. Like, it's great that you're doing good. Or if they're falling behind, knowing that they have a brother or sister that's gonna help them, get better. That's what we want. That positivity, that even when they're falling behind, being like, hey, I'm being supported, I'm gonna have support. And it is worth it to keep going. Or if they're falling behind and losing some self-confidence, the parents the family here at school, their teammates or their classmates or even their club mates. Supporting them is gonna help be better than them being actually alone and not having those support systems. As much as us teachers want to think that we can be enough, we aren't gonna always be enough. One voice isn't always enough to keep a student, encouraged. Sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. And us encouraging the parents in the school, us encouraging them to be in extracurricular activities and building bonds. These are the things that we need to do as teachers to help our EL students grow, to help them learn their language, the English language. These positive impacts are some of the main things we need to do as teachers. And really, it all starts here with you, making the first right steps to help our students. Thank you so much for taking your time to listen to me. And I hope that with this help, you see the importance in being more active and involved with your students, especially EL students' parents and their clubs. Help them out, build that relationship, and you'll see your students, your EL students, and even using some of these skills for your normal students will help you succeed as a teacher. Your grades will grow. At the very least, those students who maybe weren't doing so well, you'll see their grades go up a bit. They might not become A students, but that F student might become a C student, might become a B student. Heck, at the very least, they might even become D students in passing classes. Who knows? We want those A students though. We want our students passing. So anything is better than doing nothing and giving up on our students or just saying, you know what, they don't want to learn. So I'm not going to try. Try these things and watch them grow. I know that you care about them. I know I care about them. We only want what's the best, and supporting them is the best. Thank you for listening. This has been Gabriel Garcia de la Gadena. Thank you for listening to what I had to say and hope that this advice helps you as an educator.